Everybody, Happy New Year. It's Rick. It is the 10th day of January in the year of 2019. Wow. Okay, if you need to reach me, you're going to send an email to Rick, R-I-C-K, 0327 at me.com. I'll leave it in the description, and you're sending me an email because you're interested in receiving my paperwork, and you get the paperwork by sending a gift. Okay, just child support. I do not handle any other issues of related to arrests and warrants and stuff like that. Just child support. Um, Also, I appreciate it if you just keep it very brief. I don't need to get a big overview of your story. Okay, very brief. Again, if you have a child support issue, and maybe you're not sure if you can use my paperwork, then ask. You know, tell me a brief story, very brief, like one paragraph. That's it, very brief. Also, I reserve the right to not accept your money. Okay. In the past, I have refused to send paperwork to people who try to send me money, uh, just because I sense that it's not worth it. Okay. Um, the gift that I ask is very cheap compared to what you're getting. Okay. Now, when I tell you what the gift is, it's less than $200, but it might be a lot of money for you right now in your present situation. But I will tell you this: you're getting much more than you're paying for. I'm just telling you. Uh, the reaction I get of people are stunned when they see what they get, and these are not boilerplate written documents. What a boilerplate is these the written things you see on the internet. Like the void judgments and uh, pre-written court responses that people just cut and paste. Mine came from here. Okay, it came from my experience, and it also comes from uh, my experience with my subscribers who have received a gift. So, when they receive my paperwork and they file the paperwork and then they get a response, uh, a lot of my paperwork evolved from there. So if they respond a certain way, I write my paperwork in such a way to avoid that stuff. I, I, I try to avoid giving them any opportunity to to sidestep, to not respond, which is the reason why my paperwork usually always gets a response. Okay, there are paperwork out there that other people are selling on the internet for a lot of money, and they rarely get a response. Okay, so all right, so and here's a problem that I get emails about all the time, and it's a problem because your signature is very hard to undo. Okay, and what they do is, oh, I get the story all the time. Yeah, I didn't know. They told me if I didn't sign that I was going to be arrested, and they're going to suspend my driver's license. And what I'm talking about are people who have signed agreements to pay child support. Now, here's something to, I understand that when you're going through it, you're scared, you're confused, you're unprepared. But here's the thing: if it's required by law, why do they need your signature? Okay, why do they need your signature? They need your signature because what they're doing is getting your consent. And I'm going to show you in this video that what they use to implement child support enforcement are presumptions, okay? And it requires your consent. A lot of times, um, most people don't realize it that that the child support enforcement. Well, I'm one of the few guys that I've seen on the internet that it only applies to federal employees and members of the uniformed services, the military. And what they do is they use those, uh, that Executive Order 12953, and they use it on everybody in every state. And that's what they do. They use presumptions and they use trickery. We're dealing with very crooked people. They're nasty people. It's I don't know what it is. These people get off on ruining people's lives. Instead of just being honorable people and seeing somebody coming forward with the correct paperwork, with the correct arguments, with the correct requests for records, and you're met with uh, sarcasm, um, talking down to you, making fun of you. Like when you go to court, oh, you're one of these sovereign citizen types, things like that. Uh, so, like when you go to court and you're prepared, you're met with, you know, mean spiritedness. Okay, I mean, judges are very nasty, but again, you still got to be prepared. So, what we're going to talk about is rescinding your signature or rescinding the contract. And what you're doing is you're using the false pretenses that were used to get you to sign. So what you want to do is, if you can remember as much as you can, the name of the person that got you to sign it, if it was a lawyer, whoever it was, and whatever you could remember. Because here's the thing: the simple question would be, if I had known the truth, would I sign? Does it make sense that I would sign this agreement? No. Who the hell would sign that agreement that destroys your life, ruins your credit, leaves you bankrupt? Who the hell would sign that agreement? Nobody. That's why they use trickery. They use duress. They use fear. They suspend your driver's license when they know they cannot. Your driver's license cannot be suspended unless there's evidence that you're a threat to the safety, the public safety on the roads. That's it. Because it's recognized, the Supreme Court recognized that your driver's license is a necessity to work. I can't tell you how many emails I get for that. All right. So let's look at this. Rescind. What does rescind mean? Rescind means to abrogate, annul, avoid, or cancel a contract. Nullifying a contract by the act of a party. You can rescind it. Okay, remember, if your signature is on an agreement or a contract, you have the right to rescind it because of information you found out later on. And being that fraud, there's no statute of limitations really for fraud, okay, that I'm aware of. Okay, so you can notify the let's say it was a child support agency that got you to sign it. Somebody tricked you there. You can notify that person, or you can file paperwork in court. Okay, uh, what is what's an excuse or a reason to rescind it? Duress. I just told you before. Duress is another cause for legally breaking a contract. If you can prove that you would not have ordinarily entered into a legally binding agreement had it not been for a threat or a coercive tactic used by the other party to contract, you can most likely convince a judge to annul the deal. Your competency to evaluate the offer offer, and freely accept, it has been seriously impacted by the other party's intimidation. Okay? That's what duress is. Duress is fear. They use fear. All right? Grounds to rescind. All right? A signature on agreement to pay child support. Fraud. Misrepresentation of any type is fraud. Okay? They misrepresent the facts. Fraud. Misrepresent the law. Fraud. Okay? We just went over this. Duress, right? They use duress all the time when you receive it in the mail. Threat of arrest, threat of default for not appearing. See, what happens is they threaten you with default, and when you show up, if you do not uh, make it clear when you enter that you're not making a general appearance, you're done. I just got an email yesterday from a guy, and they claimed the child support agency claimed that they have jurisdiction because he started making the payments. You understand? Well, why was he making the payments? He was making the payments because he was told to. He was ordered to. It wasn't like he wanted to. So that's the things that they do. They trick you into complying. They trick you into appearing. All right? All right? The suspension of your driver's license or vocation licenses. How many guys out there like you have a welding license or something like that? Okay? They use these tricks to get your body inside the court for the court to gain personal jurisdiction over you. Okay? Fiction of law. Something known to be false is assumed to be true. Okay? Statutes which would deprive citizens of rights of property without regular trial according to the course and usage of common law would not be the rule of the law. These are the case laws that I'm citing. Okay? Let me give you an example. Something known to be false is assumed to be true. I can't think of anything, right? In a child support court, thinking it's a real court, and it's nothing but a nisi prius court, or it's an administrative court. Okay, so it's known to be false. The judges working there or the employees know it's false, but you believe it to be true. That's a fiction of law. Okay, they use it all the time. It's trickery. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is what happens sometimes. My computer slows up because I'm doing multiple things. All right, so what you got to do is we're going to go to a court, right? You can file a motion for relief from a void judgment. Now, this is not easy, I know that, but you got to do it, okay? You have to try, okay? And the grounds for relief from a void judgment is under Federal Rule 60B, okay? Fraud, right? So 60B3 with fraud, misrepresentation or misconduct by an opposing party. Okay. Child support attorney assigned to you gives you false information. That's fraud. Okay. Telling you you must sign it when you don't have to sign it. It's fraud. Okay. And any proof of misrepresentation is proof of fraud. Okay. The judgment is void. Okay. You have any one of these issues here, right? The judgment is void. Newly discovered evidence that with reasonable diligence could not have been discovered in time for a new trial, whatever, that doesn't really affect us. Okay. 60B. Now, you could also look up in your state for a state statute, a state law for relief, because you'll get these if you have well-written paperwork, these judges will look for any BS to sidestep. And one of their favorites is Federal Rules federal law is not enforceable in state courts, which is bullshit. Okay, we've discussed that many times in the past. The case law there is Supreme Court Howlett versus Rose. Okay, I have one guy I'm helping now, and we cited the case law Troxel versus Granville. It's a landmark case where the what happened was some grandparents filed a lawsuit. They wanted visitation, and in the opinion, see what happens is the Supreme Court issues opinions, and those opinions become fact. So the opinion is that parental rights are constitutionally protected. A state cannot interfere in parental rights in the raising of your child only in cases where there's imminent danger to the child. So if there's no proof that the child or children or offspring are in trouble, they must leave you alone. Now, how many of you guys out there got a divorce and some judge made you pay child support through the child support agency? Told you cannot have joint custody. The reason why they deprive you of joint custody is so they can saddle you with child support. If you have 50-50 custody, you're not supposed to pay child support. Well, you're not supposed to pay child support to the state anyway. Okay, if there's no evidence that the state has to intervene. But again, why are they doing this? Because they make money from it. So somebody high up in the government, makes a phone call to whoever's in charge of the court system, and then listen, I've never seen one, but I know from just me working in, for a big agency that they issue these memorandums, and you could be rest assured that these judges have memorandums to, issue as many child support orders as possible in a divorce. Think about it. If you're getting a divorce, all divorce really is a separation. That's all it is, and you're dividing up the assets. So where does a judge get the authority to order you to take away your right for joint custody of your children when your children are already yours? They're your property. Well, the reason being is because they know the state is going to make money. And the judges' salaries are paid from the same treasury where the money is deposited, the federal money. Okay, the more money that's deposited in the treasury, there's more jobs for more judges. Judges don't have to contribute to their medical. Their pensions are non-contributory, meaning they don't have to contribute to their pension. Okay, it's a sweetheart gig. And it's helped by the Title 4D money being deposited into the Treasury. Okay, remember, a lot of these judges that you're seeing for a divorce, they're appointed judges. They're not elected judges. So their first duty is to the state because they're a state, county, city judge. They won't tell you that. Okay, so sometimes it'll benefit you to know the state statute. So I could tell you in New York, the equivalent to Federal Rule 60B is CPLR 5015. Also, when you look at the law, it is a mirror image of the federal law. So like this is West Virginia Civil Rules of Practice 60B. All right, they use the same, number and letter abbreviation, and it's all the same law. All right, all the same. What do you call it? Sub numbers. Okay, so it helps you to do it that way. All right, so how are you going to do it? You're going to file a motion or a petition for relief. Okay, also you could file an injunction against the child support agency, and you to get an injunction against the order, and you present the facts. All right, so you're going to file a motion or a petition for relief to rescind signature. You could also rescind the contract. Okay, you could do that also if you had a bad divorce. Okay, if I'd known this, I might have done it myself. I mean, these lawyers, and I've seen a lot of divorce stipulation agreements. What a stipulation agreement is for your divorce, it's a contract, and it's called a postnuptial. You ever heard of prenups? These are called postnups, and they're not supposed to be altered in any way. Okay, contract is a contract, and the courts love contracts because it makes life easier for the judge. They just look at the contract and say, well, it says here you agreed to this. Okay, but the only time they don't respect the contract is when somebody like myself who I had a good agreement for child support, and they changed it. I used to pay my ex-wife by check every 2 weeks, never missed a payment. So what they did was they forced me to pay through the child support agency with no cause whatsoever, because they got 66% on every dollar they took from me. Okay, so you can look at this here now. here's important. Now I want you guys to understand. Let's say you did sign an agreement. Here's another way to get out. Okay, Executive Order 12953, written, signed by President Clinton. I went over this in my last video. We'll go over it again. Child support enforcement means any administrative or judicial action by a court or administrative entity of a state necessary to establish paternity, right? Establish child support, including a medical order, and any actions necessary to enforce child support or medical order. Child support actions may be brought under civil or criminal laws of a state and are not limited to actions brought on behalf of the state or individual by state agencies providing services under Title 4D of Social Security Act and 42 U.S.C. Section 651 through 669. Okay, so 12953, child support enforcement. It only applies, or people who are subjected to it are in the uniformed services. They work for a federal agency. I'll show you. Okay, 1 second. Sorry about that. I had something propped up here, and of course well, anyway, I had a memorandum from the FBI regarding this executive order, because the FBI agents, the child support applies to them because they're federal employees. You understand? So if you're not a federal employee and you're not a member of the armed service, uniformed services, this does not apply to you. They're, that's what child support is. Child support, the laws and everything, they're presumptive laws. So it's up to you. It's presumed that it applies to you until you object. And that's what we do with my paperwork. My paperwork, what we do is we're sending in paperwork now, and being that, we're early on in this, because being that I only started applying this like less than a month ago, okay, I can't give you any, responses yet. But that's what we're doing now. We're sending, 1 second. We're sending in a response like this. Yeah, this really pisses me off. Whenever I do these videos, everything is so damn slow. Okay. And what you're doing is we're making footnotes of everything, providing evidence. What we're doing is we're rebutting any presumption that the child support applies to us by using footnotes with facts. Facts that prove that a presumption doesn't apply to you, like the child, income withholding, immediate income withholding, uh, all of that stuff is presumed to apply to federal employees and uniformed service members, not you. Okay, so when we present this, we're demanding proof of records. This is when you receive something in the mail that you owe arrears or a child support debt. Okay, the undersigned is a state citizen, right? Footnote: the term resident and citizen of the United States is distinguished from a citizen of one of the several states in that the former is a special class of citizen. When you're a state citizen, you're a special class of citizen. Before we had our Constitution for the United States, every state had its own constitution, okay? Every state was independent of itself, all right? So then we're saying we want to see proof of records. First, you're claiming non-assumption. Non-assumption, you're claiming that you need to see the agreement because you don't recall entering into an agreement. You need to see it. And under 31 USC 3716, administrative offset, you have the head of the agency may collect administrative offset only. They can only collect only after giving the debtor written notice, right, and an opportunity to inspect and copy records of the agency. So they have to show you proof. So what we're doing is when you receive in the mail a notice from an agency that you owe arrears, Rick, they say I owe $21,000 in arrears. All right, we're going to shoot off one of these bad boys, okay, including a promissory note. I had one guy reach out to me today. He's like, Rick, they say I don't owe child support anymore, but they're collecting interest on the arrears. Now, how are they collecting interest? There must have been an agreement somewhere. Interest. I mean, what do you pay interest on? Car loans, mortgages, right? Personal loans from a bank. You Shylock on the street, right? That's where you pay interest, all right? And that's what we're doing. And this is very well written. This here alone, this document right here alone, this affidavit, is worth what I'm asking. Just this one thing alone right here. This is worth what I'm asking for a gift. I can easily get what I'm asking for a gift for this affidavit right here. Wouldn't you like to shoot off a response to these people where you're actually citing the law, the code, the United States code that says before you start taking my money, you must provide proof of a record of a debt, and I have to see it, and I have the opportunity to record it. Okay? That right there is worth its weight. Just this alone. This is just one of, I don't even know, I don't even count them anymore. I just keep adding on. Okay? So, and I put in the executive order, child support, and I showed it why it doesn't apply. Okay? All right, so I'm going to close out this video, but I hope I proved to you that you have the opportunity to rescind the signature. It's not hopeless if you're one of these people out there who was tricked into signing an agreement. Okay? Excuse me, I apologize. You can rescind the signature. I'm losing my voice. All right, guys, so enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you need to reach me, my email is rick, R-I-C-K, 0327@me.com. I had a success story a couple weeks ago. A guy in Alaska. You know who you are if you made it to the end of the video. Send me an email again because I cannot find it. I cannot find it. The the email where the guy actually had the child support stopped, and I cannot find the damn thing. That's the reason I meant to make this video yesterday, but I spent 2 hours looking for the email. I cannot find it. I don't know what happened to it. All right, guys.